few more lightning round questions. I like the yes, no, maybe. Though obviously you guys are very creative in that.
We're politicians.
Will the legislature address sulfide mining in northern Minnesota and move that forward?
If we need to, and I think that, I don't want to speak for Senator Bakk, but I think that we actually agree on this issue. I think, I know folks are concerned about the environment, the clean water, and we want to make sure that we preserve that and protect that, and I think we can. I mean, that's a treasure. I missed my yes, no, maybe, didn't I? Sorry. We want to make sure we preserve that, but we think we can do both. We think we can create the jobs and protect the environment, and I'm not sure that we're going to need legislative involvement, but if we do, I think we will.
The Polymet project, the first one, is in the environmental review process. The public comments have been submitted. The DNR is evaluating them. The next stage probably happens in April, where we'll actually go to the permitting. I don't see a place where the legislature has any involvement.
Sexual offender program is about to be declared unconstitutional by all accounts by a federal judge. Will the legislature act, or will it defer to this federal judge? Senator Bakk?
Again, the House should follow the Senate. We passed some reforms to the sex offender program to try and address the concerns of the federal court in 2013. We were unable to get the democratically controlled House or the governor to take that issue up. It will only happen if there is a strong bipartisan vote in both bodies. I think we should do it. I don't know if we're going to. I don't trust the federal government to run much. And I'm not too interested in turning our sex offender program over to the federal government and just have them send the state of Minnesota the bill. So hopefully we can find some bipartisan agreement.
Speaker Daudt, do you see the legislature acting on sexual offender program?
I think that I think there's some action we can take. My caucus has taken a little stricter position maybe on this. We agree with the Attorney General in that, from the other party by the way, but we agree with the Attorney General that we think it is constitutional. Whatever we do, we're going to make sure that we're protecting Minnesotans first and foremost. This is a group of people, when you read some of the files, that you probably don't want moving in next door to you. So we need to make sure that, and I'm not saying they can't be rehabilitated, and not all of them are like that, but we need to make sure that what we're doing first and foremost is protecting Minnesotans. And I think there are things we can do that really haven't been discussed in depth yet, but hopefully we can have some conversations about that and make some progress.
Minimum wage. Speaker Daudt, do you see the House picking up a minimum wage bill, perhaps taking a look at inflation or some other part of what was passed last session or not?
I don't currently have a plan to, but I think I would like to look at it. I've been a little reserved in saying yes or no on this one because the changes that were put in place are somewhat recent, and I'm not sure we've seen the real impact. One of the predictions is that when you increase the minimum wage, especially when you do it a large amount, that you will end up actually with less jobs at that pay rate or pay level. And I want to watch that very closely. The other thing I want to watch for is whether or not this is disproportionately affecting greater Minnesota. We think that it does. We don't want to make it more difficult for folks out in greater Minnesota to operate a business or run a business. So this is one of those issues I think that affects the two differently. If we find out that either of those two are the case, the House will take action. But again, we want our value. Number one, we want Minnesotans to make more money at those pay levels. We think there's a better way to do it. We need to grow jobs and create more better paying jobs with the market, and we think that's a more sustainable solution.
Senator Bakk, a question from the audience. The Minnesota DREAM Act was passed in 2013. A campaign for driver's licenses for all has begun. Do you think this can be a good opportunity to build bipartisanship and set a national example?
The Senate actually voted on that bill also to give non-residents an opportunity to have a driver's license. The House, democratically controlled House, I can't blame the Speaker for this, didn't find a way to take it up. It's tough politics. I mean, kind of like the sex offender program. I mean, to give people that don't have immigrant status a driver's license is kind of tough politics and makes for tough campaign literature. But they're here, and they have jobs here. And whether we can find some agreement on it, I don't know. The Senate has tried in the past. I mean, we're not going to deliberately try to pass things that the House is not going to give any consideration to. I don't find that to be all that constructive. So if the House is willing to have a conversation about it and try to agree we want to jointly do something, we probably will. But we're just not going to send Scud missiles over to the House just for election year campaign material.
Driver's license for all, is that a Scud missile or something worth talking about?
You know, I'm going to make a commitment that we will look into it. And I made the commitment to the folks at the end of last session who were there really pushing for this. And I know that it affects families in Minnesota and their lives, and we want to make sure that we're doing, first of all, what's safe and what's right. But it is a complicated issue, and it can be a political issue. But we're gonna have some good conversations about it and look into it to see what we can do.
You know, we've run out of time, but I want to just add to what former Speaker Swiggum just said. There are obviously going to be disagreements. This is part of the democratic process to get those disagreements aired. But I think Minnesota is in an infinitely better position when it's got two leaders who talk to each other, who are looking for reasonableness and common ground. So thank you both for your service and for joining us today.